I'm finally going to sit down and share with you guys our huge life-changing homeschool update. Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and this is A Common Life. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids ages 4 through 12. And we have been homeschooling for about 6 years now, and this past year, past fall has been incredibly rough as far as homeschool has been concerned. We've really been struggling with some things, and that is what led to this huge absolute change of everything that we're doing. Basically, it is just going to completely change our homeschool for this year, hopefully for the future. We had to make some really big decisions this year. So before I get into that, let me go ahead and do basically kind of a review of what went on during the fall so you have a better idea of where I'm coming from. If you've been following my channel for a while, you will know that we homeschool all 5 of our children at home. In the last year, no one went to a co-op or anything like that. We just kind of hunkered down and did school at home, which worked really well for us. The kids did great last year academically. They were, at the top of their age bracket, I guess, for standardized testing and just some really exciting things like that. And so last year, our homeschool year went really well. We were all really pleased with it. We had fun. We just really enjoyed it. And so we took a little bit of time off during the summer for swim team, and then kind of did more of like an abbreviated schedule, just some reading, writing, and math. And then in I think the last week of August is when we started up again. And that was because we joined a homeschool co-op. Now, we joined the co-op for several reasons, and one of those reasons was basically just to kind of find a community here. You may not know, but we're new to the area. We've only lived in the town that we live in now for a little over a year and a half, and so we are still really just trying to kind of settle in and find friends and find our place. And so I thought, well, we'll try to join this co-op and see if that will be a good fit for us. And one of the things that I was concerned about was friends for my oldest son, who is 12, because I have found, especially in this area, a lot of people tend to stop homeschooling after elementary school, and they'll send their kids to middle school or to a private school or something like that, or a charter school, and there just aren't as many middle school aged boys that are homeschooling. And so when we went and visited this co-op, I saw that there were so many boys, and so I thought that it would be a really good fit for our son because he would have a lot of friends. That was basically one of the main reasons that I chose the co-op. On top of that, the people were all really nice and kind and welcoming. And at the time when we visited the school, they were at this beautiful church with wonderful facilities, and it looked basically like a little bit of a school. They were Sunday school classrooms at a church, but it was just a really good setup in a good area that I was comfortable with, that I knew well. And yeah, it just seemed like it was going to be a really good fit for us. Then in August, I think, we had basically like a parent information meeting, and I had known that they had changed the location of the homeschool co-op, but I didn't really know anything about it because it wasn't an area that I was familiar with at all. And so I kind of knew that it was not in a good area, and that did make me a little bit nervous, but I thought, you know what, this is a large church and they have lots of facilities and it should probably be fine. It shouldn't be something that I have to worry about too much. I'm not the type of mom that is super crazy protective. I'm okay with exposing my kids to all different kinds of things and different cultures and places and all these kinds of things. So I wasn't super concerned that it wasn't in my typical cozy suburban setting, that it wasn't a big concern to me when I heard about it. But then when we went there, it was not the greatest. And one of the things that they said to us in the parent meeting was to make sure that you don't leave any belongings out in your car because people are prone to break into cars and steal things. And so hearing that, I was like, oh, that's okay. I'm not super comfortable with that, knowing that there's a playground that my kids are going to be playing on, and, we're going to be going from building to building to transfer for classes and things like that. And so in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh, I don't know about this. This is a little concerning. But I knew that there was another homeschool co-op that met there that had been meeting there for years, and I don't know, hopefully they haven't run into any issues. I don't know, I didn't attend that co-op, but it was in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, so there's obviously a safety concern here, but we'll just be careful, we'll lock our car as an alarm. I wasn't super concerned about the car, just kind of in general that there was some type of safety concern. And I live my fluffy little suburban life, so, I don't really have to deal with a lot of that stuff. So I was like, all right, it's okay. I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. So we went to the first week of co-op, and It was a struggle, and this is no reflection whatsoever on the co-op itself or the people at the co-op. It was just a struggle within my own family. My youngest, who was supposed to be in the preschool class, just refused to stay in his class, and the first day, I think he stayed an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. And just to give you the background, the co-op is from 8 until 3. So it's a long, actually 3:15. It's a long co-op. I didn't really expect him to be able to stay that long away from me because he wasn't used to it. It was rough because in the afternoon I had to teach classes and I had to have him with me, and it was a little bit difficult. So thankfully over time that did get better and he was able to stay with his class longer. But the first week was very hard because on top of that, I had another child who was really struggling just with some sensory issues and stresses and things like that, and so I was kind of dealing with both of them, and it was just very overwhelming because it was a new place, new people, new children. I had to teach a class to these people I've never seen before, and it was just stressful. That wasn't that fun, honestly. And so we went, kept going, and it got progressively better as far as like Eric staying in his class and my other kids doing well in their classes and getting more comfortable and all that kind of thing. It wasn't the end of the world, but I think I would say like the end of October, the co-op was on Friday, and by Thursday I was just getting stressed. Like every Thursday I would just start getting stressed because I knew co-op was coming, and it was really draining for me. And so it was like I was anticipating the fact that the next day was going to be stressful and draining, and I was going to come home exhausted, and I hated that. I hated that the last day of the week before the weekend when I want to be able to have fun with my kids and be with the family, that I'm just like completely drained, and it was just really frustrating. So yeah, it was just not ideal. And so then we had an incident which changed everything for us. We had, and I'm not going to go into detail here, but we had a major safety issue where my youngest child was basically not taken care of properly. And it could have led to honestly any number of things happening to him, and it was very, very scary for me. And thankfully I was the one that found him and was able to kind of scoop him up and keep him with me and take care of him. And it was really concerning because, like I've said, it was not a good neighborhood and he was alone. So, and he's 4, let me put that out there. So that was really hard for me because I loved the people. They were so nice and helpful. And even when it happened, almost all of them were, 100% willing to just jump in and help out and do whatever they could do. And even the next week they were coming up to me and asking like, are you guys okay? How's Eric? They were so wonderful. They were just so kind and helpful. And it was just a really unfortunate incident for us, because it was really scary, and I was already having some reservations and feeling, a little discontented, and so this it didn't help at all. And so from that point on, my husband was always working from home on Fridays, and so from that point on, I left Eric home with him, and David, my oldest, was not happy with co-op. He didn't like very much of it at all, which is unfortunate and not a reflection of the co-op itself. It was just his personality, or is his personality, and the way that he learns. And so he asked if he could just stay home with Eric. And so what we did that second week was David stayed home with Eric, and my husband worked from home, but he basically took care of Eric. He was so sweet. He even made lunch for my husband without my husband even asking him. Like, he's such an amazing child. My husband just was basically there to be there in case anything happened, but the two of them just kind of hung out all day, and I think Eric probably watched a lot of TV, and that's fine. It is what it is. It was just for a very short period of time. At that point, I was really upset. I was really conflicted. I didn't know what to do, and I felt trapped because I had a commitment to teach, and I don't like breaking commitments. I really do not like breaking commitments. It really upsets me. And so for a good month, I was just really struggling because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to solve this problem because I didn't want to just up and quit, because I always tell my children that they need to follow through and finish whatever they're doing. Like if it's a sport they don't like or something like that, I always make them finish it out to the end of the season because I think it's important to teach perseverance. And so I felt conflicted about that, but my child's safety was my number one concern, obviously. And so in that situation, I had to put my family first. After about a month, I kind of started thinking, all right, we got to figure out a way to make this work better or I'm out. I can't keep doing this. We ended up getting sick right before Thanksgiving. I was really sick. And then after Thanksgiving, I kind of relapsed and got sick again. I think maybe I never really got over it. I had like a bad head sinus cold thing. And so we ended up missing 2 weeks of co-op, and they were the last 2 weeks of co-op, which was incredibly unfortunate because I wanted to go back and I wanted to see these kids who I loved teaching so much. They were just like the sweetest, most fun kids. I mean, I used to be a teacher. I love teaching. I really enjoyed that. And so it was really fun for me, and it was really sad not to be able to be there, the last week that I was going to be teaching them and all that. So that was discouraging and not way I wanted things to play out. And then after that, I decided with my husband, we both decided that we weren't going to go back in the spring semester. And I know I had spoken to the director several weeks before that, and so she knew our concerns, and she was very helpful and supportive. So I know it wasn't like coming out of left field. They probably knew that it was coming. And it probably seemed like we were just skipping co-op because we weren't there the last 2 weeks. But in all honesty, we were sick. But I mean, it is what it is. That was it. We quit co-op. And that means that all of the curriculum that I bought and all of our homeschool plans for this year are basically out the window, and I wasted all that money, which was another reason that I was so frustrated because I was like, now what do I do? Like all of my older children's main subjects were basically taught at the co-op. And so now I was stuck here with, books, textbooks, and workbooks or whatever that I can't really use. At that point, I just didn't really know what I was going to do. And I just started looking around because, like I said earlier, I really wanted to find friends for my older children. The only way to do that, because we live in a neighborhood that really doesn't have any kids, is to either do sports, which we do, or sign up for other more, what's the word I'm looking for? Just consecutive, like things that happen over and over again, like a certain class or a co-op or something like that, where they're going to see the kids consistently. Because we live in a neighborhood without children, it isn't like my kids can just like walk down the street and see their friends. So it has to be something that will be able to see people consistently. And so I started looking for more co-ops in the area. Thankfully, we live in an area where there are, we have the most homeschoolers in the nation in our county. There are lots and lots and lots of homeschool activities and co-ops and groups and things like that here. And I found this homeschool school that my very good friend Megan had told me about last summer or even last spring, I'm not sure when. And she said to me, this would be a perfect fit for you guys. You would love this school. You need to go check it out. And I said, no, it's too much. I'm not sure, because it's more expensive. It's like way, way, way more expensive than the co-op that we were doing in the fall. I just kind of couldn't really wrap my head around it. I felt like, I don't know if I really want to spend this much money, because what if it doesn't work out, and what if we don't like it? And I didn't really give it a fair chance at all. When we decided to leave the co-op, I was like, I gotta find something. And so I started actually really, really looking into it, and not just looking at prices and looking at what it really was. And then we went and visited, and I was able to speak to the director, and it seems incredible. It is a classical school. It's a cottage school. They meet 2 days a week and then you homeschool 3 days. It's classical, but it also has a hint of Charlotte Mason, which is my style. That's the way I teach. And it's just really well organized, and all of the teachers have a degree in whatever they're teaching. So it's not just like a homeschool co-op where, you just get assigned a class and maybe you don't even know anything about it. It's actually, teachers are actually trained in whatever they're teaching. So that was very appealing to me. And so we visited, like I said, and my kids loved it. They wanted to sign up right then and there. They were ready to go, and they were all just really welcoming and kind. They let my daughter participate in their theater class, and she was able to go up on the stage and, I don't know, perform with the kids. I wasn't there. I didn't get to see it. I was with the director at the time, but she loved it. She loved it so much. So the school basically covers all of your main subjects. Let's see, writing, grammar, science, history, Latin, nature study, math drills, theater, music. I think that's everything. I hope I'm not missing something. And then they also do nature walks. They volunteer at a local nursing home that's right by them. They go up there all the time and they volunteer and they do things with the residents, and then they do all types of recitation and performances, and it is just so up my alley. This is just so my kind of school. It seems like a really, really great fit for us. But because it is halfway through the school year, they don't have openings in all the classes. So what we knew all along that we were always going to send David, our oldest. That was the plan from the start. I wanted to send him somewhere. They had an opening in the 6th grade class, so I signed him up for that. And then Grace, like I said, she did that theater class and loved it, and she really wanted to go. I asked if they had any openings in the 5th grade class, but they didn't. What we decided to do was just sign her up for the 6th grade class, and if if it's too hard for her or whatever, she'll just kind of finish out the year and enjoy the classes and then do 6th grade again next year. Or if she excels in it and enjoys it and makes friends, then we'll just move her on up to 7th grade next year. So she could potentially be skipping a grade here. I don't know. We're just going to play it by ear and see how it goes. Academically, she is very advanced. She's a very intelligent girl. So I think she should be perfectly fine. She's a good writer. And so I think as long as you can read well and write well, you can kind of do anything. And she can do both of those. So I think she should be fine. We decided to just send the older 2 children for now. And then hopefully in the fall, we're going to send all 5 of our kids. Now, only the older ones will go 2 days a week. The younger children will only go 1 day on Fridays. But that means that if this really does happen next year, we will have 5 kids in school for a full day every single week. That is insane. I have no idea what that feels like. I have no clue. Even when our older 2 went to public school for a year, I still had the little ones at home with me. So I have no idea what that feels like to have an entire day to myself. Like, that would be crazy. I'm thinking about like all the millions of things I could get done, and it just is very exciting and empowering to me. So I am really, really, really hopeful that this will work out. Yes, I really, really hope it works out. I think it would be such a great fit for us, and I hope the children make friends and kind of like find their place, because that's one of the things I'm really struggling with, is just like finding our place here. It's such a bigger area than where we came from, and there's so many different people or so many more people that are doing different things, and so many homeschoolers too. Like back where we used to live, like I kind of knew all the homeschoolers because there weren't that many of us. And so it was easy to kind of find your place and find people that you're comfortable with and have like a similar, walk of life or whatever. But it's much harder here being near a big city and all that. So I'm excited and hope that this will be kind of like the place that we've been looking for. That is our huge homeschool update. One of the things I'm the most looking forward to about this is the fact that I will have Wednesdays and Fridays to basically completely invest in my younger 3 children. I am so excited to be able to just kind of like read with them and do crafts and do all of these things that I did with the older 2 when they were that age, but I haven't been doing as well with the younger 3 because I've just been having to help my older 2 with all of their schoolwork, and I just haven't had enough time. And so I am planning that Wednesdays and Fridays are going to be these really fun days where we're going to get a lot of learning in, but we're also going to do a lot of fun things, and I think it's going to be really, really great. I know this was a really long video, so thank you guys so much if you stuck through to the end, and I hope that you guys all have a wonderful new year and a great homeschool year. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.